How's it going, guys? Welcome to the FM Dugout for the first episode of the new Let's Play series as voted for by you, the viewers. And the series is titled Fallen Giant, and it will follow Parma Calcio 1913, as they're now known, not Parma FC, on their journey back up from the Italian Serie D, Group D, all the way to Serie A and beyond. This game has hallmarks of the Rangers sort of save if you did it a few years ago when they were down in the Scottish fourth tier. Similar sort of situation in terms of the club having financial difficulties and basically liquidating and going out of business and going down into the lowest division that they can. So Parma Calcio 1913 is now what they're known as. Reputation 3 out of 5 stars. That should help us in terms of attracting players to the club. Semi-professional status, so obviously we do want to get back to being professional as soon as possible. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting challenge for us, working our way back up. In terms of how things look financially, we've got 12 million in the bank, but don't get carried away because we have a debt of 60 million outstanding, for which we're paying 245k a month until 2035. So for the next 20 years we're paying $250,000 a month. That's a lot of money to be paying out, so I don't think we'll be using a lot of our transfer budget to be buying players. We'll see what we can do in the free transfer and loan market. So in terms of this series, we have Serie D Group D this year, and we are heavy favourites to get promoted, as you'd expect. If you get through this division, then it's a little bit strange when you get up here. So there's 3 leagues: Lega Pro, Girone A, B and C. The top team who wins will go up into the Serie B, which is just a normal league. Then second to fourth in each will then take part in a playoff kind of league structure. I'm not sure how many teams from there actually get promoted to Serie B. The bottom team get relegated, and 4 teams take part in what they call the playout, which I think is just like a relegation playoff. And then once we get above there, Serie B just goes as normal. 22 teams, top 2 get promoted, which is pretty tough. I mean, the English Championship, you look at those, there's 24 teams, you get 2 go up automatically and 1 goes up via the playoff, so you can actually get a good chance of getting promoted, finishing in the top 6 anyway. Here you have to finish in the top 2, so that could be quite a challenge. And then obviously you get into the top division, there's 20 teams there, but that's going to be some time away for us. So that's the challenge ahead. Let's take a quick look at our squad to see what we're working with this year. Now, I said in the comments section of the voting video that if Parma were selected, that I would manage the club by only signing Italian players. Now, I know that wasn't stipulated in the video, so maybe people voted for Parma thinking, oh, you can sign anyone. So let me know in the comments box, what would you rather see? Would you rather see me sign players who are Italian only, or would you like me to be able to sign anyone? We'll see how we take the series on from there. As things stand anyway, let's see what we've got for our squad depth here. So our goalkeepers, certainly their rating at the moment, not particularly good. They're young, but decent amount of potential, so not bad. I mean, in the 4th tier they're probably going to be more than good enough. Right back seems to be a problem area. We've only got 1 player that can play there, and he's actually a centre back, so we'll definitely need to strengthen there. At left back we have a couple of players, Saparetti and Agrifogli. Yep, they seem okay. It looks as though Alessandra Lucarelli is our standout. He's 37 years old, so that's quite old. He's older than me, so that's saying something. Marking, leadership, I mean, he's a solid player, and his actual physicals are pretty good for his age. So he's here till next summer. Don't know whether we'll be able to extend it, but he certainly looks like Mr. Parma. Then we've also got Benassi here. looks to be decent enough. Caccioli, 33-year-old Italian, so a little bit of experience at the centre back, which is never a bad thing. No wing backs in the right side, so again, probably not going to be playing wing backs. I tend not to play it. I might play full backs in a slightly more attacking way. And then we've got two defensive midfielders, Giorgino, decent looking player, and Miglietta looks not too bad as well, certainly the mental side of things. And another player, 34, so quite an old squad. On the right wing we've got Corapi, 4.5 stars current rating. He looks like a pretty good player, to be honest, and he's Italian, so I can keep him. Yves Bry, Senegalese, so he'd have to go if we do Italian only. Versatile player, looks like he can play pretty much anywhere across the midfield. Mentals not particularly amazing, but certainly the kind of key technical areas, dribbling, first touch, technique, passing, all quite good, so good for a midfielder. Actually, he's not the best player on the left either. It's actually Corapi there as well. But these two guys look as though they would be able to sort of swap wings over if required. Then Miglietta as midfielder, Yves Bry, Walter Rodriguez, 19-year-old Paraguayan, looks to have some potential, lacking a bit in his physicals, but you'd expect that for a 19-year-old, but it looks not too bad. He would have to go again if we went Italian only. Then we've kind of covered attack midfielder, right and left. It's the same sort of players. Then we've got Juan Antonio, attacking midfielder central. So if I go with my favoured formations where I do have someone playing just off the striker or strikers, this guy looks as though he could do a job for us. Yves Bry can play there as well, so maybe lacking a bit of depth in that area, so certainly wouldn't look to play more than one attacking midfielder, and would have to get in someone to support Juan Antonio. And of course he's Argentinian, which would mean that he would go unless, of course, he has dual nationality, if I can actually get onto it. Aha, he does. So does that count? Yeah, I suppose it could. Then up front, strikers don't look too bad at first glance here. 33-year-old Matteo Guazzo, target man. Not my favourite kind of role up front. Daniel Melandri, advanced forward, that's more like what I'm after. 26 as well, so he'll certainly have the legs to do a bit more running. And then Riccardo Musetti, 32-year-old poacher. So nice variety of strikers there, not too bad at all. He actually played for San Marino. So we can actually see this guy has played at this kind of level, actually a little bit higher than it. Not a fantastic goal scoring record. What about Guazzo? Where's he been? Yeah, he's kind of been at the same sort of level as well. Similar kind of goal scoring record. What about Melandri? Again, similar sort of level, and similar sort of goal scoring. So it'd be nice to get someone who could score more than 20 goals in a season. If we could do that, we'd be laughing, to be honest. Yeah, so not too bad. If we just have a look at the reports here and just see about the recommendations. Yeah, I mean, lots of good potential, I think. I mean, obviously it's relative to the league you're in, but certainly think we should be able to win the league this year. Let's just have a quick look at our under 20s and see how they're shaping up as well. 16-year-old left fullback is actually a centre back, Slovakian. Looks okay. Stamina 5 might be a little bit of a problem. A couple of attacking midfielders here. Actually, they're on loan, aren't they? From Chievo and from Sassuolo. So probably not much point in getting used to playing these guys. There is a right back, so we do have a right back at the club, which I suppose if I can't get anyone in, stat wise is not too bad. In terms of his ratings, not ideal. Marking's a bit poor, crossing's poor. What about in the under 18s? Not very many players there. Looks as though the best players are in the squads above. So anyway guys, that is the kind of whistle-stop tour to the club. One last thing. Yeah, capacity stadium 22,885. Not too bad. If we could fill that out every other week for our home games, we might be able to kind of work against that 245k loan payment every month. I've updated the strips. I've put in what I believe are their strips for the 2015-2016 season. However, the away, the third kit, for some reason isn't working. I've checked the config file, everything's fine, but that really annoys me. I've got OCD about that kind of thing, so it's quite frustrating. But yeah, certainly these tops look quite nice, and they are similar to the ones that were actually in the database anyway, so it should look okay in the match engine. And one last thing, this is an update from FM Online, I think it is. The link to that download is in the description if you guys want to take on the Parma job yourself. I think it's going to be a really good save. I hope you guys are looking forward to it as well. I'm going to cut the episode here, and episode 2 will be out when, I suppose, I figure out whether or not I'm going to sign Italian players or not, because I don't really want to end the pre-season without signing players, and not knowing who I can and cannot sign is a little bit risky. So yeah, please let me know in the comments what you would like to see in terms of our signing policy or restriction, as it would be called. And yeah, we'll see how it goes for episode 2. If you've liked this or you're looking forward to the series, please hit that like button. Leave me any comments that you want to make, and if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And until the next time guys, arrivederci.